Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Akil. Here are the headlines. Indian markets post healthy gains on opening, led by HCL Technologies, which maintained guidance despite margins taking a hit in the first quarter. And open interest surges in Hero MotoCorp as traders take fresh long positions in stock futures. Tata Steel is among the top Nifty losers after the company posts its lowest profit in 2 years for the first quarter. And oil clawed back some of the losses after Saudi Arabia contacted fellow crude producers to discuss market intervention.
All right, those are the top headlines for you at this hour. Let's also tell you what's happening this Thursday morning. Important day from the futures and options market perspective. It's the day for the weekly options expiry for Nifty and Bank Nifty. We did have a positive start in line with what the other Asian markets were doing this morning, but we've cooled off once again. Nifty is back below the mark of 10,900 at 10,876, and the high point was somewhere about 10,915 today. Pull up Bank Nifty, which did see some bit of shorts coming about in yesterday's trade post the monetary policy weakness seen in a couple of the PSU banks. So that's trading with cuts right now. Not too much, but still in the negative territory. 3% higher when it comes to the open interest for Bank Nifty futures. The volatility index, which opened 7% lower, is off the day's low. Still, it's cooled off a bit for the day. 16.3 is the level where it's currently trading. And the broader markets, which have been outperforming the benchmarks in the last 2 to 3 sessions, are seeing some bit of positive tick today. So mid-cap, small cap up, just meager gains seen for the mid cap and the broad and the small cap index. It's up about 0.3% for small cap, and mid cap also seen 0.25% gains. The market breadth will come up on your screen, which will give you an indication as to what's happening with the listed universe on NSE. So just about even, Stephen, though marginally in favor of the advances right now. And in terms of sectoral gainers today, you've got the Nifty PSU banking index, which was a laggard yesterday, probably seeing some bit of bounce back. Realty is up and about, and on the weak side, you've got metals, which continues to reel under pressure. Remember, Tata Steel came out with the numbers, and the result reaction was pretty much negative. But very important, what levels to watch out then for today's expiry. The maximum open interest on the call side is at the 11,000 call, and on the put side at 10,800 strike. So probably that's a very wide range you can watch out, but at the money strike is 10,850, and if you combine the premium on both call as well as the put side, let's say if somebody wants to play a straddle, the combined premium is 70 points, so 10 points from 10,850 up or down, that is giving you a range of about 10,780 to 10,920 at least for the day. We'll see whether Nifty can cross above that mark or not, but I think most importantly, Agam, we defended, I think, this week's low of about 10,815 yesterday. Yeah. So I think that should be the first support on the downside.
Yeah, 10,815. That's exactly the level that we should be keeping an eye on. But let's talk about stocks. And again, it's another day of trade where we are seeing mixed moves from a whole host of these names. So let's start by taking a look at all the stocks which are seeing a surge in open interest. So we have Hero MotoCorp right at the top. It's up 1.8% and 15% added in open interest towards fresh longs. We have Siemens, which is advancing by as much as 7.5%. So we do see some gains there as well. Just Dial is up and about. On the other hand, Reliance Infra is under pressure, and as is the case for Union Bank. So those stocks seeing some shorts building into the system. Let's also take a look at all the stocks which are seeing unwinding in today's day of trade. And actually not too much to speak for except for F&O Tech, which is seeing a decline of less than 1.5%. So once again, it will be all about earnings and stocks reacting to them, Navneet.
Well, clearly, it's been all about earnings, and the stocks which Agam highlighted have been reacting on back of numbers. So we will be taking views on a couple of those stocks from our expert. And on top of the list is HCL Technologies, one of the top gainers on Nifty today after posting its numbers yesterday post-market hours. Revenue beat, a miss, however, seen on the margins. But most importantly, on the technical side, the stocks crossed its 50-day moving average, and for the week, it's up about 5% in trade. Siemens is the other one which came out with the numbers. Operationally, I believe it was a beat on the numbers. As you can see, margins expanded to about 11%. So we'll take a view on that one as well. And Tata Steel, weak set of numbers. Europe disappointed with regard to EBITDA per ton. The stock's already corrected 21% in the last 1 month. And of course, it's been trading below all its key moving averages. Let's see if there is more downside left for Tata Steel or not.
Okay, well, it's time to get in our experts for the day then. But before that, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding futures and options, you can call us on 022-4540-4141. And of course, you can also write to us on YouTube. We're streaming live there. But don't forget to add the AskBQ hashtag on our Twitter and Facebook pages. Let's get in our experts for the day. Then we have Ashish Chattermehta of Sanctum Wealth and Hemen Kapadia of KR Choksi, who's joining us on the show today. Good morning to both of you and thanks for taking the time out. Ashish, I start with you. Where do we go from here? Some consolidation expected?
Hi, good morning, Agam. So yes, I think some consolidation is possible because in last 2-3 trading sessions we have created a bottom close to 10,800 odd zone, which is a 61.8% retracement of the entire rally which we witnessed from October 2018 lows of 10,000 to an all-time high territory. And generally, when we say 61.8% retracement, that's a Fibonacci golden ratio. Generally, that's a very, very important reversal point for any long-term trend. Right. So I think keeping that in mind, yes, some short-term positivity could be witnessed, although with some kind of volatility, indicating that at lower levels still 10,800 is not breached. There is a strong chances of Nifty testing 11,000, 11,050 area. But again, at the same time, at 11,000, 11,050, you might see a lot of resistance coming back to the market. So for me, markets are in a consolidation phase. It's giving reasonable long short opportunities, and I think it's more of stock specific things which is going to play out in this market.
And it's really difficult, Ashish, to time such markets. And most of the experts who've been coming on our shows, they've been saying that probably there could be a bit of bounce back. The markets do seem to be in an oversold territory. In fact, yesterday the Nifty PCR also slipped below the mark of 1. Hi, Hemen, good morning to you. Every pullback has been used as an opportunity to sell in this sort of market. How do you place your bets on Nifty or on Bank Nifty on a day when you've got the options expiring?
Very good morning to you, Navneet. But I think, like you said, every opportunity is used as a short, and that still doesn't change. So there is the possibility of a move to 11,100. But the undercurrent still remains bearish, and like you said, it's a recovery and not a rally. So I'm not sure how it's going to pan out today. Like you said, 100 point if you take the call and put premium that had the money. So I would prefer to sell the 11,200 and the 10,400 put call and put, but for the end of the month series, no need. And I don't think either range, because if 10,800 breaks, I see another 200 point fall. But frankly speaking, looking at the OI at 11, I don't think beyond 11,200 at least the next 2 weeks the Nifty looks like sustaining. So I'd sell the 11 to call and 10,400 put down it and just wait, because yes, bounce possible, oversold possible, but bigger upside does look like.
Okay, so not unlike what Ashish said, Hemen as well is expecting the Nifty to move within these ranges, or within these levels, which is why he's looking to sell the 11,200 call and sell the 10,400 put, which turns out to be selling a strangle for those who are aware of what this particular strategy is. That said, let's move on and talk about some of those stocks. Hemen, I'll come back to you. What stocks are looking interesting to you today?
I think firstly I have a buy call on Balkrishna Industries. We saw 11.5% long build up yesterday. We're seeing another 2% long build up today also. So buy in Balkrishna Industries. Well, it's moved up a bit, so I would like to tweak the figure just a bit. These are cash market figures. So buy in Balkrishna at 736, stop loss 732, target 744. And secondly, I have a short on Pru ICICI. We are seeing some short build up coming in over there around 6%. The stock looks slightly heavy on the intraday charts. The MACD on the hourly charts is almost giving a sell. So a sell call on Pru ICICI at 395, stop loss 399, target 387.
Okay, so those are some ideas coming from Hemen. Remember, Balkrishna, as Hemen mentioned, saw longs in yesterday's trade. This also comes out with its numbers on Saturday, and ahead of that yesterday, I think in the second half, there was some buying momentum seen for this stock, which continues today as well. Ashish, what about you in terms of individual stock ideas?
So yeah, so first of all, a sector which is looking very promising in this falling market is FMCG basket. So if you look at Dabur, HCL, both these names are seeing a very strong traction, and Dabur is something which has seen a consistent build-up of position post its results. So I think this is one stock where one can initiate a long. 430 would be my trading stop loss. 455 would be a shorter-term target one can expect in Dabur. HCL again has formed a strong inverted head and shoulder with a decent OI in last 3 trading sessions. So I think this could be initiated as a buy. 1770 would be my trading stop loss. 1840 would be my short-term target in HCL. And since gold prices are moving up, so you can see that positivity being reflected in a lot of these NBFC, Gold Finance NBFC. So Muthoot Finance is one stock where consistent build-up of positions is being witnessed. I think the stock could be initiated as a buy idea with a stop below 630. On upside, 655 is a short-term upside target one can expect in Muthoot. And one stock which has given a clear breakdown on weekly, monthly, all chart frames with a very heavy short build-up is Indiabulls Housing Finance. I think this is a short with a stop above 436. On downside, 400, 405 would be my short-term target in Indiabulls Housing Finance.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Those are some of the stocks that our experts are talking about. Let's talk about a few stocks which are doing well in trade today and some that Navneet and I would like to discuss. I'm going to start with HCL Technologies. Now, the earnings were actually mixed because if you actually consider the top line, that was a big beat and coming ahead of consensus expectations as far as your revenues are concerned, both in dollar terms as well as in rupee terms. What wasn't really working out in favor of the company was the EBIT margins coming in at 17.1%, as against the expectation of around, I would say 17.8%. Those are, of course, from the income statement, the ones which you see from on the screen. If you remove, some of the other aspects, we'll have margins coming in at around 17.1%. Now, I reckon the street is currently happy with the kind of numbers that they've seen in the top line and the fact that the company has maintained the guidance for the margins growth, despite the fact that margins are considerably below the guided range of around 18.5 to 19.5%, which means that the management is suggesting that the second half could be much stronger going forward. That said, let's take a look at the futures space and see what it's doing right now. It is adding 7% increase in open interest towards longs, even as it advances by around 3.5 to 3.7%. Do remember, it is one of the cheapest stocks on the IT index. In fact, far more cheaper than its peers in the Nifty 50. That said, we're going to keep an eye on that one. It has moved above its 50 and 200 daily moving average. Heyman, I'll come to you on this one. How's HCL Technologies looking to you? What would you do with this? What levels would you watch out for?
Well, Agam, like you said, 7% long build up. Everything is fine, but I think in the last 5 trading sessions, we moved almost 8%. And at 1076, we are walking into a decent, if not a strong resistance. So after a 8% move in 5 trading sessions, no matter how much of a long build up there is, I would be slightly cautious about going fresh longs because I wouldn't know where to keep the stop loss because it's moved from sub 1000 Nagam to 1070 from around 994. So yes, it looks fine. We've broken out of a 14 trading session sideways movement. Like you said, there's long build up. Everything is hunky-dory, but I'd wait for a correction. We're at 1061. If I have to go long, I'd wait only if it comes sub 1040. Unless and until then, the risk-reward ratio doesn't come in your favor. Or if you just want to be passive, one can, if it comes off a bit, just sell the 1000 put. I think that doesn't look like coming in a hurry.
Okay, that's the technical view on HCL Technologies coming in from Heyman, which has reacted positively to its numbers today. And the other one which has reacted positively is Siemens. The stock's seen strong gains after, I think it was an operational beat for the quarter as the margins came in at about 11% versus 9.2, which was seen in the corresponding quarter. And both you're seeing action on the open interest side as well as the stock, which is up 7%. Open interest is up about nearly 17% in trade. Ashish clearly indicating there are long positions being taken here. At current levels, what would you advise? If somebody is already holding longs, what should be the target on the upside?
So I think it has actually closer to that first indicative target of 1200 odd zone, and since it has hit a high of 1192, I think one should trail the stop loss. 1164 should be the trailing stop loss. Closer to 1195, 1200, one should ideally book gains in Siemens.
Okay, and the final one that we want to address is Tata Steel. Tata Steel is under pressure, and well, perhaps a mixed quarter coming through, but it's down 3.5%. It's not, even though the numbers prima facie may have looked good, there are certain, well, factors in the earnings themselves which are working against Tata Steel. Of course, there is a 64% drop in the profitability, and revenues have only risen around 1.3%. But let's take a look at the futures and see where it's trading. Perhaps take a look at how it's done over the past 1 month or 3 months. So if we're seeing about 6% added in OI here, not too much to speak for otherwise. On a last 12-month basis, it's seen a severe drop. In fact, it's down 36%. And that drop has actually intensified in the last few weeks, as you can see on your screen there. All right, Ashish, I'll come back to you on this one. What would you do with Tata Steel? How would you address this one? It's down 21% in 1 month already. Risk reward towards shorts, or would you buy?
So I think it's a breakdown on a weekly, monthly, all chart frame, and I think if you look at the build-up, it's quite significant. It has broken 61.8% retracement as well. So I would skip, any position. And we need to understand, Agam, this market is becoming very, very narrow in nature. So today, I see, if you ask me in terms of Nifty, there is a strong possibility we might see a pullback towards maybe 80 to 100 points in a day or two also, because there's a significant short build-up. But stocks which are going to participate is going to be again very limited set of stocks. So if you look at a few of the banking names like State Bank, ICICI Bank, there we can see some positive traction coming in. Dabur, HUL, these are the names from the FMCG basket which can really show an upside. And in the IT basket, Infosys is one stock which is showing a good traction. So apart from this, most of the other names, there is a lot of uncertainty with regards to the upmove. So I'll go with names which are indicating clear trend at this juncture.
Okay, before I move on to the queries, one more stock I want to address is Aurobindo Pharma. That too is reacting to its numbers today, which were a beat. In fact, the stock's up about 5.5%. Some bit of OI build-up also seen for this counter. Revenues were up 28%, and margin expansion seen to 21% versus what we were expecting at about 19.8%. Himena, this has been resilient to the fall in markets we've seen in the last 2 to 3 weeks. In fact, in the last 1 month, I know the stock's not moved at all when the markets have fallen. So with today's move on back of earnings, would you advise taking any bet on Aurobindo Pharma?
I think so, Navneet. Like you said, long build-up of 5.5%, and we formed a small rounding bottom on the daily chart, Navneet. And we were in a range between 540 and 575. This was for around 13 or 14 trading sessions. Now we've given a breakout from there following the long build-up. I thought one would have had maybe 12 or 14%. That would have made me more comfortable. Volume spike. I think 40 lakh cash market volume on the NSE now. Neither the highest volume in the last 18 trading sessions. So everything seems to say that it started a bounce, and I believe we should be heading towards 605 if I'm not wrong. So on a small intraday cool off, I think Aurobindo Pharma looks like a buy. I think F&O, cash market volumes, technicals, all counts, it looks positive.
Okay, all right, let's move on and talk about some queries. We have one from Ramesh M on YouTube. He wants a view on the Asian Paints August futures, and well, I reckon that he also wants to sell a call against the buying of futures. That's the assumption I'm going with. Ashish, what's the view here? Is this a good strategy to play on Asian Paints?
Yeah, definitely. If covered call is something which he wants to do by taking a long position either in cash or in the future segment, and to reduce the cost of holding, he wants to write a call option. That's a perfectly right strategy in this kind of market. So yes, I think he can definitely do that. And as far as Asian Paints is concerned, it's a very strong setup. So maybe after a strong rally last 2 days, some amount of dip is there, which is a good area to initiate a long and to write a call option of maybe 1580 or 1600 kind of strike.
Okay, pain stocks have been bucking the trend on back of the quarterly earnings that we've got from most of them. The next one comes in from Venkat Sai, who writes to us on YouTube. Thanks a lot, Venkat, for writing in your query. He's got a query on Bank Nifty 27,400 put, and that's for today's expiry, by the way. He's not mentioned what's the premium he's paid for this position. So, Himin, I'll just come to you. Just a view on 27,400 put strike, which is for today's expiry. The premium is somewhere about 16 rupees, and the underlying, of course, is above that at 27,730.
Well, I think he has bought the put, but I believe that I don't think we're going to see 27,400 today. Well, Nifty seems a shade better, but I believe he should be gravitating more towards 27,800 and probably 27,850. So I believe he should square off his position, or at least keep a stop loss that if 27,800 is crossed in the Bank Nifty spot, he squares off the put, because his premium is anyway going to get eroded. Navneet.
Okay, a query on RBL Bank as well. Vivek Kanodia wants to know, can you provide a call or a put view, or is it a complete avoid due to uncertainty? That's the question. He hasn't mentioned if he wants to buy or sell a call or a put. But again, Heyman, I'll come back to you on this one. What's your suggestion here on RBL Bank? It's currently up 3%.
Well, 8% long build up, Agam, and it's virtually fallen off a cliff. I would prefer to sell calls and buy calls, but looking at the way it's fallen off, maybe there could be some pain left, but oversold, positive divergences and long build up. So I'd say we're at 373. He can buy the 390 call option, because any respite, I think, should be played by buying calls rather than selling put. So it looks set for a bounce. It could struggle a bit, but yeah, I think it would be prudent to buy a call than to sell a put.
Okay, that's RBL Bank, by the way, which has been correcting quite sharply post its numbers because of the cautious management commentary. Pull up Bata on Facebook. We've got a query coming in from Girish. He shorted Bata one lot at 1442. Remember, for the week, the stock is up about 8%, but Girish is still in the money because he shorted at higher levels. Ashish, 1442 at current levels. Would you advise him to book his profits?
Yeah, I think he should take profits out of this.
Okay, well, I think Ashish has some cues coming in on the Nifty, and we actually have a query as well on the Nifty. We have Shefali Singhal, who holds the 10,800 put for today's expiry, having 7 lots. Please advise. So let's address this particular put, Ashish, as well as what you want to tell us in general about the Nifty.
So first I'll talk about my call, because my sense is that although it's a counter trend call, but after a steep correction, we are witnessing some kind of base building happening at least around 10,800, 850 area. So today I think looking into the broad market, it looks like there is a strong possibility of a pullback or a short covering rally, and which can extend maybe towards 10,980, 11,000 kind of zone. So if I had to take a aggressive bet, I'll not say it's a very conservative or a safe bet, but since it's a counter trend view, I would say it's an aggressive bet, but keep 10,870 as in stop loss in Nifty futures, and go long in Nifty for a target of 11,000 area. So that would be my call. Based on that call, obviously, I think if he's on the short side or he's holding on to the put, then he should keep 10,935, which is Nifty futures level I'm giving. If it crosses, he should exit this put options.
Okay, so Ashish is expecting a bounce back to come in today, and he expects the Nifty can go up to levels of about 11,000. So keep an eye on that one. Pull up Hindalco. We've got a query coming in from the handle called F&O Student. He's shorted Hindalco at about 176, and currently it is above the viewers' shorted price right now. So Himin, I'm going to come to you. What would you advise in loss right now? Would you advise him to book out his position? Also keeping in mind metals have been on the weaker side, but particularly for Hindalco, I believe its subsidiary Novelis came out with very good set of numbers, so that could be providing some support to the stock.
I suggest he book out, Navneet. There's just minor 1.2% long build up. That is very insignificant in the scheme of things, but like you said, good results by Novelis, and I have a feeling that there is a bounce built in. It's been too oversold. We've come from 204 to 172 Navneet. I think we are heading towards 184, so I would suggest we book out, and things are looking set for a bounce even on the half an hour chart. So I would be slightly more positive, at least in the extreme near term. So please book out.
All right, and I think we have time to take just one more query. So it's going to be on Petronet LNG. We have Gaurav Jaggi who wants a view on Petronet LNG. He says that can I add here? So I believe he's looking to go long on this one. It's not doing too much today. It's at 236. Ashish, what's your view?
Yeah, so I think with a stop below 230, yes, he can look for building up the position, because stock for last 2-3 weeks is in a consolidation phase. A strong base created somewhere closer to 228, 230 area. So 230 should be the stop loss. Although the momentum is still missing, so for that momentum to set in, the stock need to cross 240 at an spot level.
Okay, that's Petronet LNG. Can we just pull up Motherson Sumi? It's been like a free fall for this stock. It's become a 2-digit stock since yesterday, hitting fresh 52-week low almost every single day. The results for this one have not come out yet. It's trading with cuts about 5% right now. I think the results will come out sometime next week. Ashish, where is the support for this one? Because I think the last many days the stock's corrected quite sharply.
So, you know, Navneet, February 2016 lows is close to 9150, and we are closer to those levels. So that's, if you ask me, that's a support zone. But whether it will hold on to this support zone, I think some pullback can be seen. But the overall structure is very weak, so avoid any bottom fishing or But yeah, this could be an advice for a trader who is short, that this is an area where some short covering is possible. But overall, the structure is quite weak.
Okay, overall structure for Motherson Sumi looking very weak, 5% lower in trade. And very quickly, I just want to revisit the markets. Index is trading very close to the mark of 10,900. It's the weekly options expiry day. You can expect a bit of volatility. For the broader markets, there is some bit of strength which is now being exhibited, because the small cap index is sitting with gains of 0.6%. Mid cap index now sitting with gains of about nearly 0.3%. Market breadth, fortunately, has been even Steven in today's trading session. And most of your sectoral indices, by the way, are now trading with gains. The Nifty PSU banking index is up and about with gains of 1%. Realty also seeing gains of about nearly 1%. Very quickly, just want to highlight a few stocks. Reliance Infra has lost 6%. That's your top F&O loser for the day. Cipla, which came out with the numbers, downgrades coming in, target prices being cut by a lot of brokerages like CLSA, Credit Suisse. So that's sitting with cuts of 3%. UBL is weak in trade. Lupin is also pretty much weak. That's down about 2% right now. And Motherson Sumi, which we've already highlighted. On the gaining side, Aurobindo Pharma now sitting at days high with gains of 7%. Siemens also up 6 to 6.5%, and something like PFC that's gone up in trade. And Ashish had a call on Muthoot. Even Manappuram has gone up; it's up 3%. And Balkrishna Industries, which was Hemant's buy call for the day, that's sitting with gains of about 3%. And also Apollo Tyres, Tyre as a pack has been doing well. That's also up about 3% as we speak.
Okay, well, on that note, take a moment to thank both our experts, Ashish and Hemant, for joining us and taking us through their views on the markets and solving many of our viewer queries. For more updates on the F&O space, you can also check our website out, bloombergquint.com, specifically the futures and options pages.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.